Hey guys, this is Jenny with Empowerment Through Trials. If you're not familiar with my page, I am a single mom who went through a divorce and sharing my story to uplift and empower people. Now, I've had some new changes in my life and they're exciting, and I just kind of want to share. I've been reflecting back on my divorce and I kind of want to share some of the hardest trials that I went through to maybe see if you can relate. I've had a lot of women reach out to me and ask for advice about the legal system because I was in a custody battle for over a year with my 2.5-year-old at the time. He's now going to be 5 in September, so that tells you a little bit of the timeline there. And I'm back on, I don't like saying back on track, but I'm engaged to get married and I'm excited. My son's excited and we're excited for that next chapter in our lives. So the reason why I wanted to share this video is to probably give some more empowerment and hope for other people's situations and basically single mom situations. My divorce broke out pretty fast, and I wasn't working a full-time job at the time, which a lot of single moms, aren't. They, when they become a single mom, they have to basically start all over. Now, I didn't finish my degree. Still haven't finished it. I'm technically one class away from a bachelor's in business management, but I did have my real estate license when my divorce broke out, and I decided that my number one goal was my son, and I wanted to be able to be home for him when he needed me. And so real estate was one of those things that I knew, this is kind of crooked, so I'm gonna fix it just a little bit. One of those things that I knew would be the best provider for my son. And I ended up moving home with my parents, and they lived about 10 minutes away from my house. So I went from a 2,300 square foot home to basically a 400 square foot bedroom with my son and I. And my son was taken away from me in a very drastic way. A protection order was filed against me, and the court systems err on caution, and I had to fight like hell to get everything back. My car, my house, my dog, and my son were all taken away from me, and I was accused of many things on paper. And one thing that the greatest advice I can give a woman going through a divorce, especially a custody battle, is to educate yourself in the system. Every state is different. Go watch YouTube videos, go listen to podcasts. There are so many women out there that can relate to you and what you're going through, and finding that empowerment during your trial. I told people that half of my job, my 50% of my time, was going to be devoted to my custody battle and studying it and thoroughly understanding the laws and the codes and the jurisdictions and the process. Even though I had hired an attorney, I know that there are a lot of women out there who can't hire attorneys or afford a personal attorney, but you may be entitled to having state attorneys. So, with that said, that's a whole other topic there that if you want to know more about, please let me know, because every situation is going to be different. I kind of want to go more into my financial situation because I don't think a lot of people know what I went through, because people see my triumph, people see my happiness, people see my motivation and my drive and how successful I've become in my business and in my life, but I don't think that they understand the details of where I came from. So I moved into my parents' home, and I had to put all of my items into a storage unit. And I cried. I cried the day that happened. I had neighbors who helped me, had family who helped me put it away, because I just couldn't do it on my own. To have to say goodbye to my house and have to sell it and put my entire life in a storage unit was so difficult. I had to divide the storage units because I was eventually granted the possession of the home, and so I had to divide my ex's items as well because we weren't able to communicate due to the protection order. And so I was paying out for 2 storage units and living at home, and got my butt into gear, if you could say the least, of getting my business on track. And if you look at some of my videos, in my past videos, I was living at home making those videos, and I was trying to find something to empower myself, and I realized that making videos did that for me. So here I am at my parents' house, and I realized that my relationship with my parents is only becoming harder and more difficult because I'm at home. And my new lifestyle and having them to try to deal and understand with a situation that they've never dealt with before. My parents have been through a custody battle. When my aunt and uncle died, that's a different story, but they've never dealt with a divorce before. So I felt like I needed to get out. I didn't have like hardly any money. I think I had 2 deals done in my real estate for the entire year, and it was November by now, and my divorce broke out in April. So I was making less than $20,000, and I was like, I can't live at my parents' house anymore. I have to get out. And here I have my son. I remember packing my bags and being in a suitcase for a week at my friend's house. My beloved friend let me stay at her house. And I remember laying in her bed in her guest room thinking, what the hell am I gonna do with my life? I have a kid. I have to support us. I have to move on. I have to do everything I can to find a place. My bank account wasn't gonna support the move, but I made it happen. I had just enough money to put a deposit down and move into a home. So I moved into what I'm living in right now. And I had some single moms who were like, we could live together. I knew I couldn't live together with someone because I was in a custody battle. I needed to show in the court documents that my son had his own room, his own bed, and his own space, and that we weren't sharing a bed. Now, to be told though, he slept in my bed for that entire year and never slept in his own bed. But for legal reasons, I needed to have his own space. Because the court systems don't understand when a child is sleeping with their mother. They can see that as a harmful situation when it comes to DCFS and home evaluations. And I know a lot of friends who went through home evaluations, and they're difficult and they're hard. So here I was, paycheck to paycheck. I wasn't getting a paycheck. Like, I was building my own business and going through a divorce, and my attorney bills were just skyrocketing because it was court after court after court and fight after fight after fight. And my ex, he put up a fight, and I put up a harder fight. I thought, I'm going to get my kid and secure our future. And let me explain to you, it was about the safety of my son. It wasn't about trying to take my son away from my spouse, my ex-husband. There were some toxic things happening with my situation with my ex, and I don't want to go into it too much because I'm not here to derail him. But I needed to have my son in a safe environment, and I needed to have parameters for that. So I got on WIC, right, Women, Infant, and Children, and I was not necessarily ashamed of it. I just knew that I could do better than that. And I'm not one of those people who wants to be on a government-funded program. I don't like food stamps. I don't want to have to be on WIC. I don't want to be on the list for free rent. I didn't want to do any of that. I wanted to empower myself and move forward and not feel like I was a statistic as a single mom. I didn't want my child to be a statistic either. So if you're in that boat and you have that drive, move forward. That is the most powerful thing you can do. And have hope and have faith and put your shoulder to the wheel is how I put it. Put your foot forward and work hard. I remember hitting my desk and making phone calls and working hours on end when I didn't have my kid. And even when I did have my kid, I'd set up play dates and I'd make sure I was working my ass off to making sure my future was held and secure. It didn't help as much as you want to think in the beginning. You know, I wasn't making a lot. My attorney, my divorce, I remember living off credit cards. And I didn't tell family members. I didn't ask for help. I didn't want any of that because if someone wanted to help me, they would have approached me. I'm not going to be a project. I didn't want to be like that, right? I wanted to be independent and I wanted to be financially secure on my own. I have a lot of family members around. I mean, it's easy to say I was a victim and like no one really stepped up to help me or whatnot. My family tried to help me quite a bit, and in the end, they did step up and really help me pay some of my attorney bills. But during that time, I was maxing out credit cards, and I was on WIC, and there were months where I didn't know if I was going to be able to pay my rent. And I didn't want to tell anybody that because I thought this is my life. I'm not going to be a project, and I'm not going to tell people that I'm suffering. I'm part of a religious organization where they would have paid my rent for me, where they would have bought my food for me. They did help me pay for some therapy, but I didn't want to get to that point. And if I can do it, I know you can do it. I wasn't employed. I was living off credit cards. I didn't ask for religious help. I was month to month on paying, making sure I could make my rent. And I got in the hole a lot and major debt. And I'm someone who's really good at spending, but keep that in mind. As a single mom, you have to cut back your spending quite a bit and find different ways to focus on yourself and find that happiness, whether it's, buying a bath bomb and sitting in the tub, or finding a good book at the library, things that aren't going to cost a lot of money that keep your energy going every single day. People love to hear the happy ending, right? And so I'll share a little bit of the happy ending, but if you're in the midst of the trench, hold on and stay secure and know that it's going to happen, and you're going to move forward, and you're going to be successful. You have to believe in yourself. I don't care if it takes putting quotes on the wall or on your mirror of saying that you're determined, you're successful, you're limitless, and you are beautiful, and you can be successful. The mind is powerful as a single mom. And when I know children are an amazing drive. When you look at your children and you see that they are your motivation. They're right there every day you wake up, and they push you, because my child does not have his life change financially because his mom and dad went through divorce. My divorce ended up being over $70,000, and I had some debt. I think that includes my debt that my ex-husband put me in. I got him to settle by me taking his debt, and I got everything I wanted. I knew money could be paid back, and I am proud to say that I have paid that all off. And I have made good money in my business because I was consistent, and I got the support and the help that I needed through coaches and proper people and research. And I am going to be buying a house this year, and I'm super excited about that. And I want you to realize, this just happened less than 2 years ago, where I was able to do all of this in a year span of not knowing how I was going to pay my rent to saying I'm going to be able to buy a home. If I can do it, I know you can too. I am here. Just because I'm getting married, I don't want to leave the single mom world. So I am here. If you need me, if you want to talk to me, please reach out, whether it's legal, financial, staying supportive for yourself individually as a woman, being strong in your faith, whatever it may be. Reach out and let me know, because let's stay connected. There's a little bit of my story in a nutshell. See you guys next time.